High school graduation is probably as close as our society comes to celebrating the rite of initiation into adulthood. For the last 12 years, you've been learning some basic tools for survival in our environment. You've not only learned the 3 R's, but you've also learned something about morals and ethics. You've learned how to reason, experiment, and come up with some independent conclusions. You've learned to work together. You've experienced both the thrill of victory and the disappointment of defeat with your friends and teammates. And you've also learned how to stand on your own 2 feet, how to reach deep inside yourselves to find the resources needed to complete a project. And all of that, I hope that you've also discovered that you are a unique and very special human being. Because in all of the world, there isn't another person who is precisely like you are. You're a special blend of intelligence, creativity, skills, resources, and character traits. With your graduation, your teachers, your family, your friends, and your community recognize that fact in the long way that you've come. It doesn't mean that there aren't still some things we could and would like to teach you. But from here on out, the law of diminishing returns comes into effect. It's time for you to decide for yourselves what new things you want to discover, which directions you'll take to accomplish your goals. I also applaud you for all you've accomplished, but encourage you to continue to strive to become all that you can be. I realize that most graduates don't remember a thing a speaker said a few days after their graduation, let alone a few years going to inherit responsibilities for solving some of them, whether you like it or not. They might be such large-scale items as environmental pollution, massive national debt, or maybe finding solutions to the economic and agricultural crisis. Those seem monumental, gigantic in stature. They're going to take some people who believe that they're up to that task. Now, most of us have a tendency to run away from big problems, whether they're in business or government or personal relationships. But I'd like to leave you with a thought from another culture, another time. Now, a few thousand years ago, an army was frightened into action by their own big problem. The other army had a champion named Goliath. He was huge. Goliath was challenging someone from the Israeli army to come fighting. The stakes were large too. If that soldier died, the kingdom would also be lost. And the Israeli soldiers kept looking at that giant and saying, "He's too big. There's no way I can win." So they kept silent. No one dared meet the challenge. And each day, that giant seemed a little bigger, a little more pressing. The soldiers felt a little more helpless. But one day, a young shepherd boy named David happened to visit his brothers, and he saw the problem in a different light. As the giant was out there boasting, David took a look at him and he said, "Good heavens, that guy's so big, how could I possibly miss?" He didn't know much about swords or spears or armor, but he did have a tool he knew real well. He had a sling. He knew how to use it. And he was right. He couldn't miss. I hope you also take that attitude out into the world and use it to face your problems. Because when they're met head on, they don't have the opportunity to become so monumental. You've also become familiar with some resources and tools you have. You've developed them in a school over the past 12 years. They've been developed by your family, your faculty, your community. Use them. Develop them. You lead a life of integrity and use all your resources to face your problems. Whether you win all the minor skirmishes or not, you're going to succeed in life. You can't miss. May God bless each of you on your life's journey.
At this time, I'd like to introduce our honorable guest speaker. He was a band director, graduated for 3 years, our 7th grade class advisor. Please welcome Mr. Frank Diener.
Jesus got just what I need, water, and that's what we need, lots more of outside. The way the clouds look today, we'll get about 3 or 4 inches. Graduates and parents, guests, faculty, school board, ladies and gentlemen, I thought this was going to be a hot afternoon, and the first thing we could all do was be to stand up and take our coats off, but it's turned out nice and cool, and that's a good sign. I consider it a great privilege to be invited to be your guest speaker today. And there's a few points I'd like to make. And if I can leave you with just even one idea when you walk out the door, I hope it's going to be a good one. Have you ever seen the bumper sticker that says, "Life's a feast"? And that's not the wording on the rubber sticker. Life's a feast, then you die. Well, this kind of thinking, this kind of disturbs me a little bit, because we're intended to be funny. I think it missed the point. But I think it wasn't intended to be funny. It was intended to make money. So don't ever be led by false information like you see on bumper stickers. It's kind of a twisted sister sort of a message. Life is much better than it ever was. And the opportunities to get ahead are still out there. All you have to do is assert yourself and you'll find them. Don't be like the guy that went into Lewistown and found a great buy on that. Can you all hear way in the He sold all these axes to all his friends and neighbors for $9 a piece. And he just made a pretty popular guy of himself. So they went so fast that he thought, well, I'll just go back into Lewistown, back into that hardware store while they still have the axes on sale. I'll buy another dozen. So he brought the axes back home and sold the rest of the axes for $9 a piece, and they just went like hotcakes. Pretty soon, they were all gone too, and his dad thought, well, I better give this boy of mine just a little short lesson in economics here. He says, you don't buy axes for $10 and sell them for $9. He says, yeah, I know, but it sure beats farming. First of all, I'd like to dispel a couple of myths. One is that graduates in small schools are at a disadvantage. Nothing could be farther from the truth. You think you go to a big school and boy, we got everything in a big school. Well, I happen to know most of the faculty here, personally and professionally, and boy, they are doing some kind of a job. I'll have to admire the faculty, whether it's in math and science, English, history, music, PE, shop, home ed, everything that you have learned from these people is going to serve you well in the future, believe me. You've been given the finest of opportunities, and I hope that you remember to give your mom and dad and all the people who have helped you, all your parents and friends, big special thanks for providing this opportunity for you. Another myth that I'd like to dispel, you know what a myth is? A myth is it's a little traditional story, and it just doesn't necessarily have to be true. Like, you ever seen those little tags on the pillows and mattresses? It says, do not remove this tag under penalty of federal law. Sounds so serious. So this is a myth that that you can't remove this tag from your mattress or upholstered furniture. Suppose you went into Lewistown and bought a new couch. You come home and you tear the little tag off that, throw it in the garbage. 2 o'clock in the morning. Wake up, sirens and lights all over your front yard. Police cars, a big posse just everywhere. A voice comes over a bullhorn. Okay, we have the place surrounded. We know you tore the tags off your mattress. Come out with your hands up. But it is not a myth that you can accomplish anything that you want to do. Just set your goals high and stay with them. I noticed in reading some of the stuff that you have your plans for, all of you seem to have something well in mind that you want to accomplish. Some are going back to New York, some are going to school right away, some are going to VOTEC, one's going to the Air Force. Great, great. I must say, I really have to admire all of you. It doesn't matter what field of endeavor you choose, as long as you do the very best you can, whatever. And if you're going to be a nurse, farmer, a dishwasher, electrical engineer, be a good one. And don't ever be ashamed of what you do. It's like the lady from Boston came out here. I have to tell another story. Lady from Boston came out here, stepped off the bus, and the first thing she did was run into a Montana cowboy. She said, would you tell me, please, why you wear that big, wide-brimmed hat? He says, why? Yes, ma'am. I wear it to keep the sun off in the summertime. In the winter, it protects me from the weather and the elements. And why do you wear that big neckerchief? Well, it keeps my neck from getting sunburned. And in the winter, it keeps the cold off my neck and shoulders. And why do you wear those leather chaps? Well, ma'am, I ride a horse out in the cactus and the sagebrush, and they protect my legs from getting all scratched up. Well, I understand that. But how come you're wearing tennis shoes? I said, well, I just don't want anybody to mistake me for a truck driver. I told that down at Getter Trucking, and it didn't go over very well. So if you prefer to be a cowboy, be a good one. But whatever you do, don't neglect some of the attributes that make you a good citizen. And by this, I mean service. There's a lot of service that you can be to your God and your country, to a whole bunch of things. First, humanity. The world has grown too small to ignore the needs of other races and cultures. One example I could give you of service to humanity is a doctor from New York City that is making several trips a month back